everybody. We're going to be talking today about our stuffing recipe for Thanksgiving this year, so I hope you really enjoy it. This is actually our first time trying it, so we're going to be guinea pigs together, okay? So what we did first is we took 10 garlic toast and we put it in the oven at 400 degrees and then chopped them up into bite-sized pieces about this big, about 1 or 1.5 inches. And so you want to make sure that you get the garlic toast or the Texas toast that is not cheese flavored and just garlic, because otherwise you'd have cheesy stuffing and that'd just be weird. So I actually didn't have quite enough of one package, and I used 1 package of normal Texas toast and 1 package of the Svelta rolls. And then in addition, we have thrown in here, and I'm just continuing to mix this up a little bit, some sage sausage. The actual recipe just calls for normal sausage but then sage seasoning, and so what the better if you just add in sage sausage. So I added Jimmy Dean, fried it up in a pan, crumbled it, and there's little pieces of sage sausage. So can you see that? That's what we've got so far. The next thing that I've done in this, I've taken 2 medium onions and 2 cups of celery, diced that together and put it on the stove so it became nice and tender, with a 1/2 cup of butter. So here's our completed vegetables. I'm actually just letting that cool for a second because I'm getting ready to toss it into this whole big bucket that we have over here. But I don't want it to get too hot because it'll start to cook everything all up. So I have tenderized those veggies and let them cool for just about 5 minutes or so. I probably could even do longer, it wouldn't hurt anything. And run that in there. And the other thing that I've done is I've taken some sea salt and I've added that into this mixture because the vegetables were pretty plain, so I just put sea salt in the veggies, even though what you could do is toss everything together and salt and pepper to taste in the very end. So it's just a preference matter. In addition to those vegetables, I'm going to take 1 can or 2 cups of vegetable broth and add that in, a whole thing. That's going to soak right up into your Texas toast, so be careful that you're really ready for that and that you get to mixing as soon as you pour that in. Otherwise, some of your Texas toast or some of the, the Texas toast in your bowl, is going to get really soggy, and some of them aren't going to be so great. Okay, so make sure that you mix. And then the last thing I'm going to do, and this is why I cooled off my vegetables, is I'm going to take 2 lightly beaten eggs and add those in there. So beat those eggs. I don't want the eggs to cook. And if the vegetables are too hot, or if your meat's too hot, or anything else is too hot, it's going to start to cook those eggs. You don't want that to happen. You just want it to make the stuffing sticky. So get to mixing right away. And once that's kind of all done, more or less it's pretty good. You need to give it what I call the sniff test, and this is going to be your own preference. So a lot of times our senses are connected, you know what I mean? If it smells good, it probably tastes good. At least that's what I think. So, and I'm going to give it just a shake or 2 of more salt. And I'm going to do the same thing with pepper. And I don't always use ground pepper, but because it can be kind of potent, like when you taste a little piece of pepper, you know you've tasted a piece of pepper. But in this circumstance, since this pot is so nice and big of the mixture's so nice and big, it's not going to be too potent because it's going to mix all up in there. So I did ground pepper in this circumstance. Now, what you do is you throw this into a buttered dish and you bake it. The recipe calls for, let's see if I can find it actually. Oh, here you are. The recipe calls for 60 minutes covered with foil at 325 and a buttered dish. So that's the important part, is because this is going to be nice and gooey and sticky. And so hopefully, if you're like me and you like garlic, you're going to really enjoy this recipe because it starts off with garlic toast. So, and it's already going to be seasoned garlic toast, so you don't need to add too much salt and pepper, even though you did the sniff test. Alright, so that's our stuffing recipe this year. We're going to find out together if this is a good one, if this is a winner. Happy Thanksgiving!